Good day, Vendors United. How are we doing? It is Matt from Heisenberg Hot Dogs and Western New York Food Carts with my week nine. That's right, not the final thumb. Week nine trailer build. For all of you, those of you that have watched all of them, I hope they've been somewhat entertaining. We are in quarantine. I'm growing out the quarantine beard, and even with the quarantine, even with the fact that I'm back at home, I'm not in the office. Still got quite a bit of work done. So, what do you say we see pics of the progress? I finished the frame on the remaining three sides of the trailer. Last time I did the video, I had just done the frame on the front. For those paying attention, the frame is basically going to hide the LED lights, so I can light up the outside of the trailer, get some attention when we're set up at night. I also wrapped up the new enclosure around the grill area. The original plan was to have the grill on a shelf, and then that shelf would actually slide out on drawer slides. But instead, because of my angle of the wall, I was able to basically build it out, and I gained about another 8-9 inches. And basically, I'm going to have the grill right there. I'll lose a little bit more space inside, but with the huge open window, that'll give us plenty of fresh air and make the health department happy. Uh, all right. Well, this is a little hard to see, and it's not overly exciting, but I spent a couple of days basically countersinking all of my screws and then filling them all with wood fill, basically. Not a whole lot of fun, but in order to, in order to keep going, you have to keep going. So, on the other hand, this next part was a lot of fun. I test fit all the serving windows, the door, the jalousie window, the vent window thing. All that got test fit, which was really cool. Gave me an idea of what it's all going to look like and how it's all going to work. And I'm happy to report that everything fit. And it also operated properly. So that's all good to know. Everything, all my cuts and everything were close enough that it all worked. It was time to move on to the skin. So I haven't talked a whole lot about the skin, not a lot of detail. So bear with me here. I'll do it here. I'll try to go as fast as possible. The original plan was actually to cover the whole thing in aluminum. I kind of like the idea of like a silver bullet, kind of an old retro camper kind of a look. Um, I think the look would have been really cool. The big problem I had was the cost. The I found a local supplier, tractor trailer supplier that could get me really large sheets of aluminum. But I figured my cost was going to be somewhere around $3,000. And on top of that, it was a little intimidating because if I screwed up a cut, this just adds more and more to the cost. I have worked some with woodworking. I haven't done a whole lot with metal, and the thought of screwing it up was scared me off, basically. So I did a whole bunch of research on alternatives, and I found a process that kind of met all my requirements. It would provide a waterproof shell. I could paint it any color I wanted. And then on top of that, it would only run me about $500 to do the whole trailer. It also strengthens the whole trailer, which I was always a little freaked out about initially, not so much now. And it allowed me to have a little freedom with the design process, and between the wings and the frames and all that, I definitely took advantage of that freedom. So it's a process that is now commonly known as poor man's fiberglass. It's been around for about 100 years. The original airplanes and all that kind of stuff were made using it. It's a pretty simple process. Basically, you paint the wood shell with wood glue, then you apply some kind of material over the top of that. Once that all dries, you do another coat of wood glue over the top, and then you just paint it with exterior paint. Um, Easy peasy. At least that's what I thought. I've seen a lot of people do it for campers. I've seen people using it for boats and for a bunch of other things. So I figured we would give it a shot. My material of choice for this process was drop cloths. They're very inexpensive. They are relatively smooth if you get a heavier enough one. And I could find them in large sheets seamless, which was also really important since the trailer's about 8 foot by 12 foot. I needed a piece that was at least that big. The other cool thing was cost. The drop cloths, the five of them for all four sides and the roof were around $100. I had to get a few gallons of wood glue. That ran me about $40. So for $150, I was in and ready to go. All right, let's see some pics. So I washed and dried the material first to pre-shrink it, and then it got pinned up along the two longest sides to make sure that it was big enough. I also had to spend about 4 hours or so steaming out all the wrinkles to make sure that you didn't want wrinkles in it when it was all done. The next day, my wife and kids got in on the action. We glued up the two longest sides. It wasn't quite as easy as I thought it was. I really expected the glue to grab more than it did. But after 2-3 hours with all of us working on it, we got it done. And one of the keys was lots and lots of glue, really laying on really thick layers. Also push pins. Once we got an area done, we would put some push pins in, and that prohibited us from kind of stretching it anymore, which was really, really good. And all of us kind of had our own job. So we had a gluer, that was me. My wife was the smoother. One of my sons was basically helping her get everything into place, arranging everything. And then one of my other sons was basically just a helper. He would jump on and do whatever we need him to do. So it all kind of worked out well. So that's where we finished up this week. I was honestly hoping to get a little more done when I had the whole crew there, but I could tell after a few hours that they were pretty much checking out. So we left it. We got the two sides probably about 90% done, and we called it quits. As you know from the get-go, I've said I wanted to have this all wrapped up by the end of March. We're definitely not hitting that. With only a couple days left, there's no way I'm going to be able to get that done. Basically, hopefully in the next few days, I can get the PMF going. I haven't done it by myself before, so this will be a little bit of a test for me. But we'll give it a shot. Once the PMF is done and the extra glue is applied, everything's dried, I can paint and windows go on, and that's it. So hopefully we're just about there. As always, we already talked about time frame, but mistakes. There are definitely things I would do different. The PMF would have been a little bit easier had I sized it a little better. I didn't cut anything down ahead of time, so we basically hung a huge sheet and we're trying to work with it. And it probably would have been easier had we sized it a little bit closer to the final size first. There's a lot of excess. We were constantly kind of working with it and working under it, and just kind of a pain. Also, when I was test fitting all the windows, the main serving window, I always like being as close to eye level with my customers as possible. I don't like food trucks where you're looking up, way up 3-4 feet up at the people, that are serving you. So I tried to keep it as low as possible. Part of that is the drop axle. Part of that is I kept the window height kind of low. Unfortunately, when I opened it, it ended up being about 6'3", 6'4" tall to the awning, the window awning when it opens up. What I didn't realize was that it didn't open 90%. So I assumed I'd get it up to 7 foot. I talked to the manufacturer. If I get longer pneumatic air shocks, I can get it up to a 90-degree angle, and that'll take care of that. So not a huge deal. Definitely not going to recut the window, but something to keep in mind if I were to do it again. And last but not least, guys, what's next? So, there's a lot of the poor man's fiberglass to go. A lot of detail work, which I am usually not very good at, but I'm going to take my time and hopefully we'll get there. So with any luck, I'll have all that done in the next week, have all the ins and outs and everything covered, have the second coat of glue on, and possibly even getting some paint. If that's the case, I got to figure out the final design color wise, and seal and glue, and not glue, but seal and screw the windows in, and we're done. I can bring it home. So the other good news is, as I'm waiting for paint to dry, I'm hoping I can get a little bit of work on the inside, and we'll have that all set and ready to go. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate all your help, all your comments, your questions, your concerns. I like it when people are challenging the why I did things. I'll always push back if I think that I made the right choice. But I do appreciate giving me a little bit of a push. If you need any more details on Poor Man's Fiberglass, if there's any other comments, concerns, if there's anything else you want to talk about, you can always leave a comment or drop me a message or give me a call, and I'm happy to talk about it. I did get everything squared away with the health department, so we should be good to go as long as I get everything else interior wise done in a few weeks. I'll have it ready for my first event in May, assuming it's still on. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Vendors United. Have a great day, great week, and we will catch you soon. Bye now.